All right, we're back. So Saturday, let's just fast forward. Welcome back. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. It does help the channel grow. The more people that enjoy my content and share it, the bigger the channel will get. And you never know where it's going to be. You know, we may be in a new shop environment, you know, with no Meineke behind us and just me just doing cool stuff all day long. Working on cars or doing something completely different, but all from the help of you, right?
Me?
Well, you too. The help of YouTube and the help of you.
Oh.
So City Select, I was kind of shocked. City Select is the new kid on the block in South Jersey on Route 130. Is a used car dealership, pre-owned car dealership. It looks like they have a pretty nice setup going on. Inventory seems like it's a mid inventory, at least in our location. I don't see Corvettes and Lamborghinis and
They look
Porsches.
They look nice cars, though.
It looks like just the mid-level car, the sweet spot. So when they opened up, I'm gonna say 2 years ago, maybe I think it is, that I asked April to go down there and try and get their business. And it's two brothers who own this one.
Yeah.
So two brothers own this location. The one brother is a tough salesman.
Yeah.
He's a tough salesman. And that's the one that April actually got to talk to. And hence we didn't get any work.
Right.
But sometimes...
He said they had their own mechanic.
Well, everybody has their own mechanic. I hear that all the time.
But he, brushed me off. He, didn't say, leave your business card. He didn't,
Right. He was a tough sell.
Right.
And that happens. Sometimes, when I talk to people, when I'm trying to get the work, when they have a mechanic, and they're done. And this has just been my whole career. But then there's a time where that mechanic just can't deliver something or can't do something or doesn't want to do something. And then when you're there and you can deliver, it usually gets the door open a little bit for you. Usually it doesn't open the door all the way, and then the pearly gates of cars just flood in and just fix it, we call it. Just fix it, make it right. Doesn't happen. So the other day April says, yeah, City Select called. I'm like, what? City Select called? I'm like, wow, we've been trying to get our foot in the door there for a while. And April didn't really get to sell what we do here at Meineke Cinnaminson as a used car recondition specialist and expert. That's my expertise. So, you need a car that's reconditioned. You need
I can't believe it.
What?
Somebody in California won all that money.
Wow.
The Mega Millions.
Shocked. And I get excited, right? Because I love used car recondition work. It's just an everyday revolving door of work once you have that vendor who's using it. And sometimes they use multiple vendors. You're not their only one. But that's how much work they have.
Well, you should give a shout out to Troy, because Troy if we get their work, he's very, very easygoing.
All right, so April actually talked to the other owner, Troy, and I'm not just sure if this was just a hit and run scenario where, hey, my mechanic couldn't do it for some reason or another, and I'll tell you what was going on, or the customer just insisted that
because you're his mechanic.
Because we won this guy over about 2 years ago with wowing him with our abilities to diagnose and repair a car, because he was already someplace else, my competition, and he didn't like the experience when it came down to they don't diagnose cars.
Correctly.
Well, they say they don't diagnose the car, so I don't understand.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Right, basically, we don't do diagnostics. Well, you're New Jersey State Inspection Center. You have to diagnose cars. I don't know why they use that language to confuse people. You are diagnosing a car if they come in with a flat tire, or if the wiper blades don't work. You are in diagnostic mode. Not every time that you come into a shop that it's just, hey, just can you put some washer fluid in my thing? Your washers aren't working, I need to diagnose why. Or if it's just diagnose if the washer fluid's empty. But the shop said that they don't diagnose, and it was kind of a tough one. He had ABS activation with no warning lights, and sometimes it can be quite scary and dangerous. I guess they couldn't figure it out. And then once, I looked at it and diagnosed it, I knew that it was the hub bearings had issues in the front. And then we wound up getting some other work that was, needed as well on top of that. And the guy was just, yeah, you're my mechanic. And I was like, all right, sweet. So April got to talk to Troy. Troy was definitely the welcoming person in the partnership there. It's like, hey, dude, yeah, we want you to take care of it. And what happened was, I'm guessing the story goes that their mechanic couldn't program the tire monitors. I'm not really sure why, what the situation was.
They didn't have an all-tell machine.
He didn't have a universal. I don't know what that means. He didn't have the equipment to do the tire monitors, and maybe that's true, maybe it's false, or maybe he didn't even want to bother with it. So when April said, hey, we have a job for him, I'm like, whoa, wow, I can't believe it. And for tire monitors, great, my favorite thing to do. Not really. Because tire monitors can be a pain in the ass sometimes. So we diagnosed the car. All 4 monitors aren't signaling off. Once we get the wheels open, we see that they're Autel, so I don't know what that means. Did he have a knockoff batch? I don't really know. Could have possibly been the same crap that I was dealing with, and 80% of the Autel knockoffs that you didn't know about didn't work.
He said that they were brand new from AutoZone.
Is AutoZone getting knockoff crap?
And I had to explain to him that you have had brand new sensors that were bad out of the box. I said it's not uncommon. He said all 4 of them though?
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Or his mechanic ripped them off. I mean, I don't really have the answer because I wasn't there at ground floor. Maybe he charged them for sensors. I don't really know the story other than it wasn't that difficult to figure out that all 4 tire monitors were bad for one reason or another. We gave them our wholesale pricing, which is, good for the market based on the wholesalers that I do current business with, that they don't complain about that pricing. And if they did, there's really not much I could do about it because you have to make a living. So we stock 20 or 40 Autels at a time, typically, because we do so many. And then we had Sierra doing the job, and the battery went dead in the machine, and not to drag this out, I had to put her on something else, and then I scrubbed in on it, and I'm trying to wake up the sensor, and one's bad already. I'm like, damn. So this is original packaging Autel stuff. We buy them in a case, and this happens. One was bad out of 4. It wasn't the end of the world because we have more in stock. Get all the wheels in, turn them all on, and we fix the car. But the point is that hopefully we'll see more of them, not just for tire monitors, for recondition work in the future. So it just feels good to say that we made a little impression, and it wasn't the right impression because the owner was like, yeah, screw off, dude, I have my own mechanic, basically, in so many words. But we didn't even get to tell them really what we do here, how many other used car dealership lots that they're his direct competition, that we service their cars pre-sale, after sale, and recondition, or after, we call it after the boomerang, after sale issues. We handle it all. But we didn't get to tell them everything, and maybe we'll get to that next step on the next job. It's like, hey, they're going to start feeding us some cars. They are getting into the selling season. If they have just one mechanic, it's very easy for a one-man show to get way overwhelmed trying to feed an animal of a used car dealership. But hopefully that's how it works. Sometimes it's just, usually I'm build a relationship on an exhaust system or a catalytic converter, or a hard problem or diagnostic issue that another guy can't figure out. Same for me. There's some things that just I don't even want to be bothered with electrical work, that I just say, all right, I'm done. I have other things I could be doing other than driving myself nuts with work that I hate. You know, I don't mind light electrical work. I'm not into digging through wire harnesses and connectors and all that stuff anymore. I used to do all that. I just don't want to be bothered with it anymore. So we have a guy that is our specialist for electrical issues, and he's phenomenal. But that's what he does. That's his business revolves around on electronics all day long. So why wouldn't you give the guy who knows what he has to do? And usually they're more efficient at it. It's not that it's a ground floor experience for him when he already knows kind of where to go, right? Like the video we watched last night with South Main Auto about the 19 Kia Sorento, that basically the whole entire vehicle was disabled from a fucking backup camera. Like, seriously? But he already spent the time on that prior, right? Chasing it down, going through the networks, blah, 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 blah. But he loves that kind of stuff. You can see he's getting frustrated with it too, because
He was getting so frustrated.
most of his job now is dealing with nightmares, and it gets nauseating sometimes, you know, the nightmare cars.
He was like, Merry Christmas to me.
Yeah. But the pride in what he does is like, hey man, I'm going to stay on it. I'm sick. He's sick and he's at work. Say it louder. He's sick and he's at work.
Sick and at work.
On Christmas Eve, chasing a problem down that he already kind of knew what the problem was, but he already did the legwork, right? So I learn from these guys who specialize in that kind of stuff all the time. Ford Mocha Loco, South Main Auto. You know, those guys sometimes are seeing problems before I actually see them. And now if I see that vehicle, you know, instead of me spending hours and hours and hours of a diag time on a customer's car, I can have a quick pinpoint and say, hey, Mr. Customer, it's pretty likely that it's this. You know, I need an hour to look the car over, you know, and if it is this, I need another half hour to pull the hatch apart, unplug a connector, and see if we can get everyone communicating, get your car running again, and then at this point, it's just a matter of changing the backup camera.
Yeah.
You follow me? That's why, you know, I send my electrical work that is past where I feel like I want to be with the car, because this is what they do all day long, is electronic issues. You know, and sometimes it's better to use a specialist for that, because it cuts down cost to the customer if you think about it. Like, they already know their pinpoints is, you know, 99% it's here, this problem, and they go there and find it. It's not hours and hours of them tripping over things that may or may not be the problem. But yeah, South Main Auto, good dude. Going to work sick as a dog. I'd say he was pretty sick, right? Well, if he's saying he's sick, right?
Yeah.
He's sick.
Yeah.
He ain't saying that he's feeling good. You know, and then when you have to, like, use your mind and your body at the same time and you're sick, it is so much worse. Like, where you have to say, all right, I have to use my mind, I have to think, and then I have to use my hands and my body. It's way different than you just standing there and not having to think and just doing a repeated process, right? Like, I'm just putting styrofoam in a box. I really don't have to think. It's just that part. When you have to use your mind and you're challenged, like, hey, am I on the right path? Is this right? Did I read that right? Oh, my vision's blurry. My head hurts. My body's aching. I have to put my hands over my head. I have to pull on plastic that's sharp. You know, there's just so much going on when you're working on a car. Touching, is this going to burn me? Am I going to get cut? Way different than you just sitting in a chair staring at a monitor.
Right. That's true.
Way different. So kudos to him for grinding it out. I do the same thing. I grind it out. Eyes tearing, snot's running down my face, sneezing my brains out, in pain, and getting it done for the customer. And all that standing in a puddle of freezing cold water, because the cars are just flooding in your shop, you know. He was fortunate to not have that. But he does deal with some of the nightmare work. He takes it on. I would say he's probably the best guy, South Main Auto, in his area. Absolutely. When you know other shops are sending you work, they ain't sending it there because you're a scrub.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
They're sending it there because you're efficient, you know your shit, you know how to get it done, you know how to get it back to them. And it's a good feeling. And I kind of have that feeling too. Customers send us, other shops send us stuff because we know what we're doing, we're efficient at it, and they don't have to worry about it after we work on their car. And they know that once that's done, they can deliver it to their customer and get paid without having to worry about it coming back. It's a matter of what they like doing. Like, I have so many shops that just are afraid to use a torch or a welder on a car because it's not what they want to do. It's not their comfort level. Even after being in the business for all these years, they're just not comfortable with a whizzer, a grinder, a sawzall, a welder, and a torch on anyone's car.
Right.
Caleb said that they had master techs burning down customers' vehicles using torches and welders. Is this it? You know why? Because that's not what master techs at Ford dealerships do all the time. That is outside of what they're usually doing. Is they're not used to taking cars apart with welders, torches, grinders, sawzalls, things like that. That's my specialty is that type of work. I don't burn down vehicles. I don't burn through axle boots when I'm cutting out suspension parts. That's, I'm a specialist with a torch. I'm a specialist with a sawzall. I'm a specialist with a plasma cutter. I'm a specialist of welding on the car upside down, in awkward positions with old material and new material. It is very hard for people who've been around for a while to say, hey, I don't do this every day, and this is just a pain in the ass for them. Although it is the easiest thing in the world for me to do, is just to strike a torch and go. I'm sure that people are paranoid to do that in our business. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And that's real world. So I'm not really afraid to do anything to anyone's car. It's just the way I am. I put heat and torches and fire in places I should never do it. Where people would never think of doing it, and I get it done. All right, we're nearing our location here out in Pennsylvania. See any Amish people yet? Since I'm riding a bike. All right, we're going to sign off for now. Thanks for watching.